In the velvet hush of a moonless night, where shadows whispered secrets to the empty streets, a single beam of headlights sliced through the darkness like a desperate plea. Eliza Thorne gripped the wheel of her sleek black sedan, her eyes glued not to the road but to the glowing screen in her lap. A cascade of urgent texts from her husband's campaign team, each one a spark in the tinderbox of her fraying nerves. The election loomed like a storm cloud, heavy with the weight of promises and power. She was the perfect wife, the polished arm candy for Senator Harlan Thorne, her days a blur of galas and whispers, her nights stolen by the relentless hum of ambition. But tonight, as rain-slicked asphalt gleamed under the sodium lamps, fate chose its cruelest arrow. A small figure darted from the curb, a child, no more than a whisper of innocence in a pink raincoat, chasing a lost balloon that bobbed like a defiant spirit in the wind. The thud was soft, almost merciful, a muffled cry swallowed by the engine's roar. Eliza's world shattered in that instant, the phone tumbling to the floorboard as her foot slammed the brake, tires screeching a dirge against the wet pavement. Heart pounding like a war drum in her chest, Eliza stared into the rearview mirror, her breath fogging the glass. There, crumpled on the roadside like a discarded doll, lay the little girl, tiny limbs splayed, the pink hood askew, revealing a face pale as porcelain, streaked with rain and something darker, something red. A gasp tore from Eliza's throat, raw and animal, as guilt coiled around her ribs like iron chains. "Oh God, no," she whispered, her manicured hands trembling on the wheel. The street was empty, a ghost town at this hour, but voices, distant, accusatory, began to echo in her mind. What if someone saw? What if the press descended like vultures, twisting this into another scandal for Harlan's pristine image? Panic surged, hot and blinding, and in a haze of self-preservation, she pressed the accelerator. The car lurched forward, tires spinning briefly on the slick road, leaving the broken form behind in a spray of water. But only meters away, the engine sputtered to a halt as her foot betrayed her, jamming the brake once more. She couldn't do it, not fully. The girl's face haunted her, those wide eyes, were they open? Pleading, Eliza fumbled for her phone, fingers slick with sweat, dialing the one number that had always been her anchor, her salvation. "Honey, it's me," she stammered when Harlan's voice crackled through, sharp as a blade even at this ungodly hour. I just hit someone. With the car. I think it's a little girl. Oh God, Harlan, she's just lying there. I have to take her to the hospital. She's hurt bad." The line went silent, a void that stretched like an abyss, and then his response exploded, a thunderclap of fury. "No, Eliza, listen to me, carefully now. That child, whatever it is, it's irrelevant. Drive off, immediately. The election's next month. If this gets out, if the media catches even a whiff." His voice dropped to a hiss, laced with the cold calculus of a man who had bartered his soul for votes. "My career, our life, it's finished. You hear me? Drive." Betrayal bloomed in her chest, a poisonous flower unfurling its petals. This was the man she had built her world around, the silver-tongued charmer who wooed crowds with tales of family values and moral fortitude. And now, for a stranger's blood on the asphalt, he commanded her to flee like a thief in the night. Tears blurred her vision as she shifted into gear, the engine's purr a mocking lullaby. But as she crept forward, headlights flared in her mirrors, a battered pickup truck screeching to a halt, blocking her path like divine judgment. "Come out," bellowed a burly man in flannel, his face twisted in righteous rage as he pounded on her hood. Rain plastered his hair to his forehead, turning him into a specter from some old frontier tale. "You hit that kid and you're running. A life's at stake, lady, and you're just gonna peel out like it's nothing. You're evil, pure evil." His words struck like lashes, each one drawing blood from the raw wound of her conscience. Eliza shrank into the leather seat, her designer coat suddenly feeling like a shroud. More shadows gathered, passers-by emerging from the gloom, their umbrellas forgotten, phones raised like torches in a witch hunt. "Call the cops," one shouted. "Get her plate," another snarled. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder, a siren song of reckoning. An ambulance burst onto the scene, its lights painting the rain in crimson streaks, paramedics spilling out like avenging angels. They swarmed the child, gentle hands lifting her limp form onto a stretcher, oxygen mask gleaming like a fragile promise. "Female, approximately 8 years old, one medic radio, voice steady but edged with urgency. Multiple injuries, possible internal bleeding. We need to move. The crowd pressed closer, a murmuring tide of outrage, their eyes boring into Eliza's tinted windows. She locked the doors, her pulse a frantic tattoo, whispering prayers she hadn't uttered since childhood. "Please, just let me go," she sobbed to the empty cabin. But the man from the truck wasn't done. With a roar, he grabbed a tire iron from his bed and swung it at her window. Glass exploded inward, shards raining like brittle stars, slicing her cheek in a stinging rebuke. "How dare you hide? I'll teach you a lesson you'll never forget." In that moment of shattering vulnerability, Eliza's survival instinct ignited. Her free hand snatched the phone again, thumb jabbing at the emergency contact labeled simply, "Security." "Get here now," she gasped into the void. "Accident on Elm Street. Send them all." Minutes stretched into eternities as the mob bayed, fists hammering the car like the drums of doom. Then, like thunder from a clear sky, black SUVs materialized from the shadows, disgorging Harlan's elite bodyguards, hulking figures in crisp suits, faces carved from granite. They moved with predatory grace, parting the crowd like Moses at the sea, batons and glares their parting gifts. "Back off," one growled, shoving the flannel-shirted man to the ground. "This is a private matter." Chaos erupted. Shouts, scuffles, the wet smack of flesh on flesh, as Eliza threw her car into reverse, tires squealing in triumph. She fled into the night, the ambulance's wail fading behind her like a lover's lament, blood trickling warm down her face. The bodyguards' intervention bought her escape, but victory tasted like ash. Harlan's machine, oiled by influence and intimidation, had shielded her once more. Yet as the city lights blurred into streaks, a hollow ache settled in her bones. What had she become? A cog in the wheel of power, grinding innocence beneath its spokes. The Thorne estate loomed at the end of a winding drive, its manicured lawns a false Eden under the storm's assault. Eliza stumbled through the grand oak doors, coat sodden, face streaked with rain and tears and blood. The foyer, usually a sanctuary of marble and crystal, felt like a tomb tonight, cold, echoing with the ghosts of her choices. Before she could catch her breath, Evelyn, her mother-in-law, barreled down the sweeping staircase, silver hair disheveled, silk robe clutched like a talisman. "Susie. Oh, thank heavens," Evelyn cried, her voice cracking like fine china under strain. Eliza blinked, confusion cutting through her fog. Susie. That was her daughter's nickname, a tender relic from babyhood. "What? Mother, what's wrong?" Evelyn's hands fluttered to her throat, eyes wide with a terror that mirrored Eliza's own. "It's Susie, your daughter. She's missing. She was playing in the yard with her little friend from down the street, that sweet girl in the pink coat, the one who always brings the balloon animals. They were giggling about some game, and then, poof, gone. The nanny swears she turned away for just a minute, but the gate was open, and the rain." Her words trailed into a sob, the air thickening with dread. Eliza's world tilted, the floor rising to meet her as panic clawed up her spine. Susie, her bright-eyed miracle, with Harlan's sharp wit and her own gentle smile, out in this storm. No, she couldn't have, Eliza murmured, racing to the window, peering into the churning darkness. Thunder grumbled overhead, a divine chuckle at her expense. Had Susie slipped away unnoticed, chasing whimsy into peril? The thought was a dagger, twisting deeper with every heartbeat. Just then, the front door slammed open, admitting Harlan like a conquering hero, or a condemned man. His suit was impeccable, tie askew from some late-night strategy session, but his face was a mask of controlled fury, eyes darting like a cornered wolf's. "Eliza, what the hell happened? My phone's blowing up. Some idiot on the scene posted a blurry shot of your car. We contained it, but," he broke off, registering Evelyn's distress, the pall of fear hanging heavy. "What's this about Susie?" Evelyn wailed afresh, collapsing into a velvet chaise, while Eliza clung to the windowsill, her mind a whirlwind of fragmented horrors. Harlan's jaw tightened. With the efficiency of a man accustomed to commanding chaos, he pulled his phone and tapped the screen, activating the tracker on Susie's smartwatch, a glittering bauble he'd gifted her for safety, now a lifeline in the abyss. The device connected with a soft chime, and then, a voice, small and quivering, pierced the room like a shard of ice. "Mommy. Daddy. It hurts. So much. The doctor says, critical. Come quick, please. The line crackled, then severed, leaving only the patter of rain and the roar of blood in their ears. Eliza's knees buckled, the world dissolving into a vortex of black stars. She collapsed to the Persian rug, a keening wail escaping her lips as the pieces slammed together in a cataclysm of revelation. The pink coat, the balloon, the tiny form on the road. It wasn't a stranger's child crumpled in the gutter, it was Susie. Her Susie, playing with her friend, crossing that cursed street in innocent pursuit, only to be felled by the very mother who should have shielded her from the world's cruelties. Harlan staggered back, face draining of color, his empire of ambition crumbling like sandcastles before the tide. No, God, no, he rasped, the politician's veneer cracking to reveal the hollow man beneath. Evelyn's screams joined the symphony of despair, a chorus of shattered illusions. In that eternal moment, as paramedics later recounted the frantic race to the hospital, Susie's fragile chest rising and falling under machines that beeped like accusatory heartbeats, Eliza clawed her way through the numbness, guilt a tidal wave drowning her in its depths. She had sped away from her own flesh and blood, heeding the voice of power over the cry of her heart. Harlan's words echoed mockingly, irrelevant. But nothing was irrelevant now. The universe had woven its inexorable thread, binding stranger and kin in a tapestry of consequence. As dawn crept over the horizon, painting the hospital waiting room in hues of bruised lavender, Eliza sat vigil by her daughter's bedside, Harlan a ghost in the corner, his calls to spin doctors gone unanswered. Susie stirred once, her small hand twitching toward her mother's, a whisper of forgiveness in her fevered dreams. But the scars, physical and spectral, would linger, etchings of a lesson carved in fire. For in the grand weave of existence, where fates entwine like roots beneath the earth, to dismiss the pain of another as mere dust is to invite the storm upon your own hearth. Treat a stranger's sorrow as nothing, and the cosmos, in its ancient wisdom, will mirror it back tenfold, a mirror held to the soul's shadowed corners. It is the golden rule of the human heart. Empathy is not a luxury, but the very breath that sustains us against the void. Do you feel the weight of it, dear listener? Does this tale stir the embers of your own conscience? If yes, whisper it into the comments below. Type, yes, if you agree that fate's justice is both merciless and merciful, a teacher disguised as tragedy. And if this story has woven its spell around your heart, like the old folk whispers passed from firelit hearth to hearth, then lend your light to ours. Like this video to keep the flames alive. Subscribe to Golden Folk Stories for more timeless truths wrapped in the drama of the human spirit, and hit that notification bell so you never miss the next chapter in our shared saga. Together, we remember, in the dance of shadows and light, compassion is the truest power. Until next time, may your paths be kind, and your heart ever open.